Well, I was recording a video for you, and then down the road we've got a couple of very, very large ranches, some of which I guess have private hunts and stuff where you pay money to go hunt animals and either have them mounted or eat them. And of course, to and fro, the last thing you really want to do when you have one of those big ranches is, drive. So they fly helicopters over and they shuttle people to and from this little municipal airport that is 10, 15 miles away from here. And we see all these big fancy jets flying in and all that sort of stuff. And but the helos have a floor that they're supposed to maintain, and I think because we're up on the hill, I can see the pilot, so it's loud and annoying. So here we are, re-recording. Hopefully they won't be making a round trip. And I was thinking about and pondering earlier this morning about the momentum for the Allies as they've landed 82nd, 101st, and the USMC forces, and cleaned house a little bit. But are things going to now change? And as we're going through turn 6, I was wondering if there's an opportunity here to do some counterattacking with this division taking on, a handful of battalions and being supported by these 2 brigades. Now, there's no air, basically, for want of... we could go look at the counters, and I actually did this in the last video, but just trust me, there's one unit that could fly a mission that has a 4 rating on it for air combat. There are no escorts available for the Iranians or the Chinese, for that matter. And the U.S. has just got, a metric buttload of kit being deployed or able to be deployed to both escort and then also provide ground support. And as part of my game plan for the Allies, I have set aside, basically kept the A-10s because they're the easiest to use for ground support and give the maximum DRMs that you can get, no matter what happens. Basically, if there were other modifiers that these guys had that were going to benefit them, getting 8 on target is going to give you the maximum of 6 DRMs that's allowed in any given combat. Right, so we've been doing that. And so I looked at this. So if these guys wanted to attack into here, it'd be a 1-to-1 attack. But I could use my HQ, and during the last video, this was sitting like this, and I rotated it like that to show you that it was being used for the second time in the turn. And so that would add 5 combat factors that would bring the combat ratio to 1 to 2. Now, because we've got this ER rating, efficiency rating of 7 versus 4, that's 3 more odds levels. So I don't even really need to use this guy. I could leave him and keep him available for what I don't know, but keep him available. And we would do the odds adjustments and would drop us down to the maximum, or the minimum odds, I should say, for an attacker, which would be 1 to 3 in rough. 1 to 3 in rough is not a pretty situation to be facing, particularly if you're going to get a -6 DRM. A +6. It'll be add 6 to the die roll. So let's have a look at that. I thought that might be fun to look at to see what the chances of inflicting a step loss are here, and how am I going to do this? Let me lay this down here. I'll try and hold this up a little bit. All right, I'm going to point to the column and then I'll lift it up. So we're on 1 to 3 in rough, so it's going to be this column here. And hopefully the camera will stay steady, relatively steady. So we're here. So let's just say, okay, if I rolled a 0, the best I could do, I would inflict a step loss and a retreat on the enemy at 1 to 3 attack. So pretty lucky, right? But I'm going to have a modifier of 6 no matter what. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now I'm going to lose 2 steps and inflict 1. So is that worth it? So that would leave 6. So let's say there was 6 every time, no matter what. That would give me 1, 2, 3, 4 chances in 6 to inflict a loss. So that's not bad odds, actually. That's not a bad option. I rolled a 6. Yeah, so that's not going to work out very well. I will lose 2 steps. So I went through all the die rolls, right, in the last video, and I rolled a 9, and yes, don't worry, I rolled for the detection and rolled for AAA and all that sort of stuff, and that all missed. So these two guys went in, and this is the other reason why you want to use high value ground support units, is because if you get a modifier from the SAMs or the AAA. God forbid you get an abort, but if you get a modifier, then you want to have the higher number so that it'll do the maximum benefit for the combat that's happening. Now my camera is out of its stand. There we go. All right, let's move the dice. So that wouldn't have been a bad attack. I just rolled poorly. So let's say we did that then, right? So this is now how this situation would look. So now in terms of risk assessment, let's zoom in a little bit. I've now degraded one of my best divisions on the map, a brigade, and I've set the allies up next turn that they could take advantage of this and really start bringing the pain against these two stacks now if they wanted to. By doing these attacks, if I don't get a result, because none of these have 2 steps except for this guy. Well, actually, even he doesn't. So these are all 1-step units. So you take a loss, they're gone, right? And they've got to be rebuilt and all that sort of fun stuff, and then shipped back in. It takes time. Which reminds me, I need to move an amphib unit back to Diego Garcia or to Amman so that if we do take losses, we can ship these guys back in. So that's interesting in of itself, but this is the full extent. I've got 2 more brigades here, another 564 division off screen that you can't see right here, and then this brigade of tanks. That's the majority of the fighting force on the map and on this eastern section of the map. Yeah, these guys are pretty piss poor weak. I think it's almost, to me, would seem better for the Iranians to not attack. To not attack and make the Allies attack at somewhat less favorable odds when they're at full strength like this, right? So, I'm going to have a hard time thinking about making an attack here. If these were all in a stack, I think there's 4 stacking points to a hex is allowed. That's now a 12 defense. That's going to be really tough for me to get 12 combat factors there. I could probably do it with this stack here for a 1-to-1, and then I'd push up 3 odds levels. That'd make it a 4-to-1, right? Oh no, there's 1.5 to 1 is in here, so it'd be 1, 2, 3 odds up. So I get to 3-to-1. Now 3-to-1, unless I get some really good DRMs and roll really well, there's risk there for me as the Allies. So I'm almost predisposed here to being wanting to be more defensive than aggressive counterattacking. We tried that last turn against the 82nd and the 101st over here. It didn't work out real well. Step losses all round for the mechanized. It was these guys, these armored units, and they weren't attacking. They were attacking in rough, so they didn't get the multipliers. It was a bit of a beatdown. All right. Anyway, look. So just some food for thought when you're playing any of these modules. You're going to have to think about this, because there's always, these early forces that come in. They've got great morale and efficiency ratings and all that sort of good stuff. They can bring some air force multipliers in and all that sort of good nonsense as well. But they really don't have very robust fighting capability, because a lot of them are one-steppers. These, particularly in the Marines are particularly fragile. These other airborne guys, they all have 2 steps on them, so they can do their thing. They can be flipped over and take a loss and hold on a little bit longer. Anyway, just food for thought as you play. All right, talk to you soon.